After this safe fail,
Whoa, we gotta go back.
in this video, I want to build the world's most indestructible Lego safe.
And that's what I tried to do. I got all the mechanism working and then built around the safe, and it was finally time to take it outside. But when I dropped it, you'll have to go watch that video if you haven't. But needless to say, it didn't work. And that's when I said,
If you guys want to see me revise this safe in a part 2 of this video,
now that you're caught up, let's go back.
After my first Lego safe failed, I got a lot of comments telling me to try again. So let's head back to the drawing boards, because in today's video, I'm going to build the world's strongest Lego safe. That means we need to revise this, so our mechanism has to be more compact, our walls have to be solider, and the frame has to be able to securely lock the door.
While the door didn't break, I want to add beams that go all the way down and around the frame. If we take a look at this animation here, we can see that there's now beams that hook all the way around to the top and bottom. So we need to take the dial and the front panels off of it. Let's be honest, nobody really wants to hear me talk about this mechanism. Long story short, that tile still goes to those wheels. And the main issue with this is that those plates don't go far enough. Well, that was boring. But anyways, the initial sliding mechanism that I was talking about, we're not going to do anyways. Instead, we're switching it up. I'm going to have axles spin out of the way of the door, that way it can open. And we don't have to rely on something being able to slide with friction. Instead, they're just going to spin, and it'll work much better. So here we only have 3 dials instead to make it more compact. And now you can see that when we spin that, it spins our dials. And then once they all line up, because the first one then hits the second one then hits the third one, and they all have pins in them but each have one gap open. So when all 3 gaps align, then the handle can be pulled up because that piece goes in between all the dials. So now let's do the combination real quick, and then we're going to pull up this handle, and look at that, it opens. Now if we scramble the combination, it locks, and then if we scramble it a little more and try to open it, it won't open. Now that we have a locking mechanism done, we need to do the hinges. And we also need to add on the front panel to protect all that. So now the door is done. Here we have where we'll connect it onto the frame with the hinges. And here's the opening lever. So now we need to put this into a new case because that one is pretty terrible. On my last save, the bottom is what broke the most, so that's why I started on this one. Having as many connection points with the Technic beams helps hold this all together. After connecting together all these Technic beams, then we can attach the plates underneath and on top. So now this thing is really strong. And then right here we have these axles, which I can slide out, then slide a beam into, and slide back in. Now that beam can't go anywhere. We're going to connect these to the walls, so that way the bottom can't come off from the walls. And we'll connect these also to the roof. With the base of the safe stronger than ever, it was time for the walls, and I'm making them twice as thick as last time. Here we can see that instead of just 2 layers of 2x4s, I'm using 1x4s, then 2x4s, and then 2 layers of 2x4s. This means it's not 2 layers of walls, it's 1 layer of really strong wall. Once I wrapped up those walls, it was time to attach the door. And now that it's on its hinges, we can see that when we lift this and try and open it, it's not budging. So let's open it. Purple, blue, green. Now if we lift this up, we can see that it's unlocking because that spun a little bit, and we can open it. Now we can close it, then spin it that way, handle goes down because now it's locked. Here we can see from the other side that those 2 axles keep it locked until the correct combination allows them to go down. Now let's connect the beams to that point and the one over there, and then we can connect that all the way up to the roof. Last time the roof held on pretty well, so we're using a similar style here, but we're going to support it even more by running those beams from the base to the roof. And like the walls, we're having 2x3 bricks stick out, so that way they'll support the Technic fans that'll go all the way around the safe. And now I'm attaching the Technic pieces that go from the door up on top of the roof to hold that in place as well. That'll add just another layer of security, so that way the roof and the bottom stay together. With these now on, you can't take them off without opening the safe. And this one is only able to go off that way, so if we put the bands right there, then you couldn't take it off. As for this one, you'd have to pull this way, but there's bricks there. So with those pieces attached to the door, it's now time to do the bands. These start from the bottom of the safe, and they wrap around the sides all the way up to the top. And we're doing 2 of those for the maximum security. With those on, we can see that the only way to take this piece off would be going this way, but we have this Technic piece and our band there, so we can't take it off. Finally, the bands connect at the top, but to do so, we had to leave that center gap open. So, to lock those bands in place, we're going to slide this block through the inside of the safe, and then we're going to use this axle to lock that in place. Now we can see that even if I push or pull really hard on that, it's not going anywhere. So, in all of the connection points, those bands are locked in place.
Alright, so I got the safe outside. It's time to drop it. Last time, we started from 5 feet.
We were about 5 feet here.
And, well, it fell and broke. This time, I'm going to be a little smarter, and we're going to just start from a 1-foot drop. It survived.
And the same thing happened with the 2-foot drop, the 3-foot drop,
That's right there.
and the 4-foot drop. Before we test that 5-foot drop, let's check in on our safe.
If we look at the door here, we can see that this part just popped out, but with a little shove, it's back in place.
And while the door is starting to bend,
Our door is still very much so locked.
with the safe still in good condition, it's time for that 5-foot drop.
This is equivalent to last time, where the safe completely shattered. So some pieces definitely came off.
And that they did, but there's no breaking into the safe that easy, because that's just the front of the dial and the piece that's supposed to hold on that door from the bottom. So
Now it's time for the ladder. We can see that the ladder is 68 inches tall.
So, by holding the safe a little bit above that ladder, we have a 6-foot drop. And to my surprise, it actually stayed together. This time, we're just missing the dial piece again and the lever. I know you all just want to see the safe break, so let's get this show on the road. 7 feet, no big deal. Safe is still together. So, let's bump it up and go all the way to 10 feet.
I'm gonna get it as tall as I can and then give it a little shove to reach 10 feet. Here we go. I think it's still good.
And my initial thought was spot on. That safe is still held together. While the door looks like it's in pretty rough shape and it could just be pulled open, it definitely cannot.
If we take a look here, we can see that piece completely shattered from this one. That used to be a perpendicular piece to hold that in place.
As bad as that door looked, I still had to test to see if it could open.
Pulling that pretty hard. Still not coming off. And, well, I'm not sure if I can even open this at this point.
Which is more of an issue for me than the actual safe, because that means I can't input the combination to actually open it either. So, we're gonna have to crack this thing open. So, with that being 10 feet,
I'm gonna try and throw it a couple feet in the air, see what happens here. That'll do it.
approaching the safe, it's not looking too good. Oh yeah, that is definitely considered a break-in. And if I reach in here, there's my money.
The door is completely shredded. I mean, that thing is in pieces. And if I try and open it by what used to be a handle, well, it just kind of falls apart. So let's set that aside, and here we can see all the pieces I picked up outside. I got them all, I promise.
It seemed like there was no stopping that safe until the pieces broke. I snapped this beam, that one as well, and I'm sure more pieces I haven't even seen yet.
Taking one final look at the safe, we can see that our door mechanism completely failed. We actually can't use it anymore, it's that bad.
The door frame did much better this time, and those walls held together very well. The weakness of the safe was actually Lego itself.
So, I would say this was a great success.
What actually made it fail? Was it my designs or the limitations of the plastic Lego? I'm not sure. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments, and be sure to subscribe.